Hello everybody and welcome back to another Oscar prediction video where today I will be taking a look at the category of Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So, I gotta be honest, out of all the categories this year, makeup and hairstyling might be my favorite in terms of the quality of the films that are nominated in the lineup. I mean, this honestly might be my own personal 5 for 5 lineup. I might swap one of them with Beetlejuice, but these are all really, really great nominees. And what I really like about them is they're not boring. Like, I've been paying attention to the Oscars for a long time now, and usually I know the sorts of films that will get in here. Like, usually a biopic will win. It'll be a, look, we turned this famous actor into some other famous person. Look, we turned Gary Oldman into Winston Churchill. Look, we turned Christian Bale into Dick Cheney. Look, we turned Charlize Theron into Megyn Kelly, and on and on and on. And those are the only types of movies that win. And not to say that there isn't some hard work that goes into that, but after a while, it just got so boring and the winners started to blend into each other a little bit. But there are no biopics in this category. And on top of that, what other movies usually get nominated? Maybe like a movie that takes place over the course of decades where the actors will be aged gradually, and that's not here. Maybe a war movie where the characters are injured a lot. That's not here either. And instead, all 5 of these movies are using makeup in pretty obvious ways to affect the course of the movie, but there's a lot of really impressive work that went into each and every one of them. So I do want to take a moment to really highlight how great the nominees are, because I do think the winner has been set in stone for some time now. But that doesn't mean that the other 4 nominees aren't deserving work. So, 5th most likely to win is A Different Man. So this is one of those movies where as soon as you see the set photo, you're like, that's getting nominated for makeup. And there was a moment when I doubted it because I wasn't sure how widely the film was seen, and I wasn't sure how much of the movie Sebastian Stan has the makeup on for. But I did just watch it, and the nomination makes a lot of sense to me now. Basically, Stan has the makeup on his face for the first 40 minutes of the movie. And in that 40 minutes, there are a lot of close-up shots. We really do have to sell that the makeup is real, that this is his real skin, and when the treatment starts to make aspects of his face come off, it has to feel very real and authentic. Like, this is a real condition. And what's interesting is that after his face is fixed, after the character's face is fixed, we then meet Adam Pearson's character, and Pearson, in real life, has this exact same facial condition, and so we have a direct form of reference to compare it to. And if you put the image of Sebastian Stan and the image of Adam Pearson next to each other, an average person might not be able to tell which is makeup and which is the real thing, which really is a testament to the hard work of the makeup designers on this film. With that said, it's not going to win. This movie is definitely the least seen out of all the nominees in this category. This is the only nomination that the film got, and so while it is deserving work, I don't know how many people have seen the film, and the film itself is fairly divisive. Even though the work is very strong, shockingly, there's work elsewhere in this category that is stronger. 4th most likely to win is Emilia Perez. Okay, so a lot has been said about this movie and the controversy and the backlash and the amount of nominations that it got that it didn't deserve. But through all that noise, I am going to make a statement that I don't think is going to be too controversial. If I could give this movie one Oscar nomination, it would be for makeup. This is the one nomination that I would argue the film actually deserved to get. Because the character of Emilia Perez, we meet her in her pre-transition self. And one of the big things that this movie does, it made the decision to have Gaston play her character pre-transition. And usually with this kind of story, they would just cast a cisgender actor and have them only wear makeup after the transition. And that's often been used as the excuse for why cisgender actors play transgender roles of, oh, we have to see the character before the transition. So the simple fact that this movie cast a trans actress and used this makeup process to create the character's pre-transition self, and that it works as well as it does, that is worthy of applause. That is the one aspect of this movie that people generally can agree was well done. And it's a bit surprising then that it's not more of a contender to win, because it's arguably the one aspect that the movie got right. But here's the thing. We only ever see the makeup on this one character for the first chunk of the movie. And then after that, no other character really has impressive looking makeup, which I do think hurts the film. And it's actually on screen less time than The Different Man look. I rank this higher because it's a Best Picture nominee and because the strength of the narrative of what they did with the makeup is impressive. But you can also argue that the makeup in and of itself is not as impressive as the simple fact that they chose to use makeup in this way to tell this story. And it is something of a shame, but it's not the most deserving nominee here. And frankly, with the amount of backlash that Emilia Perez is getting, Oscar voters are not going to want to give this movie too many awards. So I don't think they're going to overcrowd it with wins. Third most likely to win is Wicked. Okay, so you could argue that this is the least deserving nominee here, but I do still think it's deserving work. In the lead up to the nomination, there was a lot of talk about, would this get in? People thought, oh, they're not going to nominate it just for painting her green. But first of all, they didn't just paint her green. There is a lot of effective work, mainly hairstyling work, done on the entire ensemble. A lot of Glinda's hair and Madame Warble's hair and the hair of Idina and Kristen in their cameos looks very, very good. A lot of the makeup that they wear, the Ozzy and stuff, it is impressive stuff. I would argue it would be a deserving contender even without painting Cynthia green, which was not an easy process. That took hours and hours to find the right shade and apply it every day, and there are freckles. They wanted it to feel like real skin. But let's be honest, even if it was just painting her green, they would still get nominated because the main character of the movie is obviously wearing makeup, and we saw this exact same thing with Joker back in 2019. There's no reason that movie should have gotten in Best Makeup other than the main character is wearing makeup. So I don't think that this is a very deserving... I think this is a solid nominee. I don't think it would make a deserving winner, but I don't think it's going to win. I do think people are going to vote for it just because they like the movie and, hey, they painted her green, that's makeup. I think in a weaker year with less competition, Wicked could seriously contend for the win. But as of right now, I don't think that's something we have to worry about. Second most likely to win is Nosferatu. Oh boy, so if we did not have the number one in this race that we have, I would actually feel pretty good about predicting Nosferatu to win, because the prosthetic work done in this film is pretty extraordinary. And to be fair, it is mostly on one character again. It is on Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu. And the marketing for the movie deliberately hid what he looked like, so early on there was some discussion about have enough voters seen the movie, but now that the movie is more widely seen, I think if you see the movie and you see what he looks like, you're like, oh, that has to get nominated. If you know who Bill Skarsgård is and he doesn't look like that, this really is a feat of makeup. Now, they do hide him a lot throughout the movie. A lot of the movie he's shown he's blurry or he's behind something, he's in shadows. The filmmakers very smartly don't want to show too much of him, which I think works from a filmmaking perspective. It might hold the film back in terms of giving it a win, but I do think the transformation is impressive enough that in another year, it potentially could have won. That's the crazy thing. I think all four of these movies potentially could have won in a weaker year. But number one most likely to win is The Substance. So as soon as this movie premiered back at Cannes, I was hearing people say, oh man, in a just world, this would be winning the Oscar for Best Makeup, but they're not cool enough to touch it. The movie is a body horror film, and there have been plenty of body horror films with really, really impressive makeup work that have gotten ignored by the Academy because they just don't like that genre. And even I was skeptical that they would go for it here, but as time went on, it became clear that this movie was really, really loved and had the potential to get nominated for Best Picture, which it ultimately did. And once that happened, it was over. Because once you see the movie, it's kind of undeniable. And I'll admit, I had been hearing talk that, oh, if you see the movie, you understand why this has to win Best Makeup. But the marketing for the film did not show a whole lot of the elaborate makeup transformations, so I go in watching this movie wondering where the makeup is going to be. I see Demi Moore's transformation over the course of the film, eventually leading to that old haggard look, and I'm like, oh, that's why people say it's winning Best Makeup. And honestly, if it was just that, it would still be a deserving winner. But then we get Monster Joe Sue in the final act of the film, and at that point you're like, oh, this is winning. Oh, there's no question. Nothing else has a chance. And honestly, I was talking earlier about how boring it was with all of these biopics winning for transformations. It's been a while since we've had a good, like, monster movie transformation. Like, turning a person into something that looks other than human. Because so many movies nowadays will just use CGI for a kind of transformation like this, and these kind of makeup effects work are almost a dying art. And so when you see something that looks this incredible and is done pretty much entirely practically with some minor CG enhancements to add Demi Moore's face on the back of the creature, you just can't deny it. And if this movie were not in Best Picture, it would be like, oh, I really wanted to win, but I don't know. The movie's in Best Picture. Oscar voters are watching it. And if you've seen the movie, you kind of can't deny it. I think this is one of the most open and shut cases of the night, even though the other nominees are all really, really great, and any of them in a different year would make a deserving winner. But the substance not only will win, but I think will go down as an all-time great win in this category. So thank you very much for watching, and tune in next time when I will be taking a look at the category of Best Visual Effects. See you then.